Well, I'm pretty sure you already mentioned this guy, so let me as well go there right away. A lot of people expect him to go first overall to the Bengals, and that's Joe Burrow,
Yeah.
quarterback from LSU, senior. Um, Now, when I first looked at the numbers here, Eric, this is kind of hilarious. Like I watched Burrows a lot, like as much as I could this year, and I knew the hype about him. I seen him lots last year actually too, and I seen him evolve. That's a good way to put it, I guess. But so when I was looking at the numbers, so the 2019 season, he had for yards 5,671 yards passing. He had for touchdowns, he had 60, and for interceptions, he had 6. I had to Google this a couple times and look up a couple different sources because at first glance, it's like there's no way in hell this can be correct. He had 60 touchdowns. But that was the case. You're talking about a guy who really only played he only did play 2 years in LSU. But he really grasped the system in the second year. His head coach really let him do his thing and put all his trust in him. And I think it was a good decision. Like I said, only 6 interceptions to 60 touchdowns, which is unheard of. He broke a bunch of records, obviously, this year in college football. And his 2000, I'll give for numbers, just to give you a grasp on how big the jump was. In 2018, which was his first year starting fully for LSU, he had 2,894 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. Again, he only threw 5 INTs, so he's taking care of the ball, which I don't care what level you're in. That's great news, right? If you're not turning the ball over, a good chance you're winning. It doesn't matter, like I said, in college or the pros. So that's a good habit. I think we both can agree on.
100%.
But it just shows you the massive leap. Like you can't, like video game numbers. Like I hate to say that. That's kind of cliche, probably.
But goes out and scores 60 touchdowns.
But seriously, and there's only so many games in college. It's not like the NFL where you're playing 16 regular season games. So there's your first halal moment.
And obviously you're going to have the odd team that's kind of like a weaker, competition. They played Rice, they played Arkansas, a couple other places.
I do have in my notes here. I will come out and say this right away. So they played Georgia, and he threw at least 3 touchdown passes against Georgia. And I mean, they weren't behind. Like I was really shocked when I saw this because I'm a big, as Eric knows, the rest of you don't, but I follow Georgia. It's one of I follow many college teams, but Georgia's one of those ones for football for me.
Yeah, they've always stood out. They've always stood out to you.
Yeah, and they've always been sick defensively, which I always appreciate, and they have a strong running game, which I enjoy as well. So that was really interesting to me because Georgia's been really good the last 3 years for sure, like outstandingly good. And he torched himself, they torched them. And it's not just 5 yard, 10 yards downfield, like dink and dunk stuff, people. Like they're taking big chunks. So that jumps out at you right away. So the competition, he did play some really good teams this year, obviously. So I'm going to dive
head first, right off the top.
So, another thing I noticed, the guy, if they're behind in a game, I just love his poise. He doesn't look rattled. It looks like they're up by 17 when they could be realistically down by 17.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoy that part of his game. When you put the tape on, you watch him. There's no panic. If his first guy's covered, he reads his second and third option very well. What also I find is becoming a theme here, probably since Russell Wilson came into the league in the NFL, is that, Aaron Rodgers does this amazingly well too, is prolonging the play when it breaks down and it's not the original play and just making a play. He does a very good job of this, a very good job. So in the new NFL, I want to call it, new offensive NFL, this is very important that you can make something happen out of nothing when the original play goes to shit, I'm going to say.
Yep.
And I'm dropping the shit word out there. But so I'm impressed with that. He's a very smart player. Very, very good awareness in the pocket. He's not crazy fast like some of the other quarterbacks here when it comes to scrambling and stuff, but he's very manageable. He's got the pocket awareness.
Yeah. And that's one of those things that, you know,
it's important. Like, you don't need to be a crazy athlete as long as you can give.
No, you don't. Everyone doesn't have to be Lamar Jackson, right? You know,
exactly.
Aaron Rodgers isn't. You know, he's not out there running a 4-4.
Like, look at Tom Brady and Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
Even Drew Brees. They can just a little shimmy shake, a little side shuffle, a little step up. You know, it's just to dodge.
Everyone says, you know, when they go back through everything, that one of the best mobile quarterbacks of all time is Dan Marino, and it's not because Dan Marino's obviously not running down.
He was a beauty.
He's not moving. He's not going down there for 80 yards. You know.
Could you imagine if he got to play against Tom? Like, that would have been epic.
And that's one of those things. Like, a lot of people can say a lot of things, but Dan Marino is, you know, possibly has the greatest arm talent just for throwing the ball, right? Like, Dan Marino had all the records before everybody else. In an era when
he really revolutionized.
Yeah, in an era when it wasn't you know, whatever. But with him, it's how he moved in the pocket, right? You know, moving that little bit to the left, a little bit to that right. It's that pocket presence that you need to know when you got to step up to kind of get in front of that rusher.
Any successful quarterbacks kind of got that sixth sense, right?
Yeah.
In the pocket, a lot of them, or they can run for their lives, like Russell Wilson, or I know I keep saying that Michael Vick. Michael Vick could scramble. You know, all these young guys. It's an element in today's game where I see it seems to be like you need to be able to run, or even what is it, Daniel Jones?
Yep.
Very athletic, doesn't get enough credit that way.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of those guys, right? Like, that's what everyone sees the Mahomes, and they say, well, we need a mobile quarterback. But they've been drafting mobile quarterbacks for years, right? You know, you go back to the Vince Young, you go back to Mitch Trubisky.
Exactly.
They all these guys, you know, that are, you know, and we'll get into Mitch Trubisky later, but, you know, all these guys that are athletic, that can move around. And if you can't sling the rock, then it doesn't matter, right? Like, you're a quarterback, you have to throw the ball at some point, right? Make the right decisions. And a lot of it comes down
to you're not going to be out in the lead. Eventually, somebody's going to have your number, and you're going to try to come back from behind.
Yeah,
and that's when you got it or you don't.
Yeah, so I agree. Like, watching Burrow, the way he, you know, moves around in the pocket, like, he's very fluid. He's good.
It's not sexy all the time, but it's very.
Doesn't have to be, right?
It works exactly, right. So you're impressed with him too.
No, 100%. And the one thing, and I guess a lot of people have brought it up, is he a one-hit wonder in the right offense on a really good team? You know, Justin Jefferson's there, Chase is there, who, you know, like I said,
Chase shows up in a lot of highlights, man.
Yeah, because he should, right? And like I said, he doesn't even come out till next year, but he should be the first receiver off the board next year. You know, like, they have a lot of weapons. They had a really good offense.
There is very good talent around him.
But even then, there's been a lot of teams that have had really good talent that didn't come anywhere close to putting up, you know, almost 5,700 yards, 60 TDs, and only 16 interceptions. You still got to make the passes, no matter how good the pocket is, no matter how good your receivers are, right? Like, you can, if you overthrow, it doesn't matter how good your receiver is. If you throw them by 10 yards, it doesn't matter, right? So it's you know, that was who was it, Marquise Lee, I think it was, on the Jaguars, when he was yelling at Bortles because he couldn't get him the ball. So, you know, it's just the little stuff he seems to know. But the one thing a lot of people are asking are, you know, it was a one-hit wonder, and the guy's going to be 24. You know, he's an older prospect.
He is a senior. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, you did. So, but it's one of those things. It's, as a senior at 24. And
he didn't start. He never got a sniff. He, like I said, he transferred from Ohio State.
He had
a couple of throws.
But on Ohio State, he was behind Dwayne Haskins, who at the time was, you know, the best quarterback in Ohio State history.
And what is it, Barrett? Was it RJ Barrett?
No, RJ Barrett's the guy that plays for basketball.
The Canadian. But there was another. Was it Barrett though? Didn't they have a quarterback, Barrett?
I can't remember. Maybe something like that.
Just recently, anyways. So, but yeah, you're right.
But yeah, so it's
Canadian,
our Canadian boy. Yeah,
slinging it up there.
Just slinging up there, different kind of slinging. But yeah, so he's, you know, obviously it's good, but, you know, people do question because, like I said, Sam Darnold essentially is the same age as Joe Burrows, and he's been in the league for, Yeah, actually, he's younger. He's been in the league for 2 years.
I don't think it's a knock. Like really, like I said, I've always said this.
Yeah.
The more snaps, like it just adds to his experience. But his numbers were crazy this year, which is awesome, which has never really been seen before in college. And I'm very interested to see what he can do in the big league. Like, I don't think he's a one-year wonder. He's a smart football player.
How'd you think
he's got a pretty good arm? I wouldn't say it's a rocket like compared to some of his counterparts here coming out.
Yeah.
He's a really smart football player. He's fun to watch. Always makes the right decision, it seems.
How do you find?
He also tends to lead the receivers.
How do you find he is How do you find he is against a blitz or a rush or something like that?
He stands in there. He's tough.
Yeah.
Like he's taking it right on the chops. I like that, and he's hit his receiver in the stride. He's really good under pressure. He's a good football player. Period.
I think I heard an interview the other day, and they were talking about.
He can run, and he does run.
Yeah, I heard it was one of those things that another one of his teammates they said, like, you know, is Joe tough? And he said, yeah, like he's tough as hell. Like when he runs, the guy doesn't believe in sliding, you know, which that was Andrew Luck.
That's a big mistake if you're in the
NFL. You gotta teach him, you know.
Ask
eventually.
RG3 how that worked out for him.
RG3, ask Andrew Luck, right? Andrew Luck was
never the same.
You know,
that line was horrible in front of Andrew Luck forever though. Then he got good and he retired. Ironic.
So it's one of those things. It's you hope that he goes to a team that can kind of manage him well. I think, you know, since he has weapons, obviously they have AJ Green, they got Tyler Boyd, they got. I don't know about John Ross, but John Ross is good, and they're also getting.
They got a stud running back. I'm trying to think.
Mixon,
of his name,
Joe Mixon.
Oh yeah, he's above average.
Yeah, but they they drafted a tackle last year in the first round, and they didn't. I don't think he played at all last year. So this year they're essentially almost getting 2 first-round picks. So that should be, you know. Then you got a guy blocking for, you know, your franchise quarterback right there off the bat. So like I said, hopefully they can treat him well.
People forget that the Bengals went out and added a couple guys in free agency, and I think that's going to help them out. So everything they add on the draft here, the Bengals, you know, they're going to be more competitive than people think.
No, and he's, like I said, he's kind of that old school throwback, kind of that tough guy. Everyone said, like, when he came in, because the job wasn't his to take when he came in last year, right? They kind of said, look, if you're going to come, Kate went in and he said, look, you know, I don't care if I'm the starting quarterback, if I'm the backup quarterback. You know, I'm going to play for you guys, and if whatever I have to do to make you guys better, even if it's just, you know, getting you better in practice, like, I'll do that. Like, I'm here to help you guys win. I want to see the team. So, like, all the interviews I've heard from other people and stuff, because I've really been diving into him too, is that this guy is a real deal. He's a leader, and he really sets a good example in the clubhouse. So,
well, and they beat good teams. Like Trevor Lawrence is. You know, everybody's going to want him next year. Anyways, plays for Clemson. He won the year before. Mm-hmm. But in that national title game, what people forget is that Lawrence and the boys, so Clemson got out ahead, and they were not up by just 10. I think they were up they could have been up 17-3. Don't quote me on that, but they were up.
Something like that, yeah.
And Joe Burrow and the boys, like, they were never phased. He just kept believing it, and then he just chipped away at it. They scored again.
And then they got ahead.
It just became a theme.
And then it almost –
he was dominant.
It almost, like, you know, turned, right? Almost switched, you know, who was.
Not to say that Clemson played bad, because Trevor Lawrence's numbers were pretty good too, and you could see where he started to play action. Not play action. What is it? Quarterback spread.
Yeah.
Or quarterback option. So he started running a little bit more, but and he's a beauty too, man.
Yeah, it's one of those things. They just ran into a buzzsaw, right? Like they were just so good over there.
Well-oiled machine, man. That was a hell of a game.
So it was good. It's like I said, I think any last parting thoughts about him? I said I think the guy's going to be.
He really does he really does everything well.
What is some knocks on him? He's a great leader.
Like, I really do like. He's like, you know, how they say about Matty Ice. They call him there in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I really like that nickname for Burrows too. Like, he's just calm, cool, collective. It doesn't matter if they're up by 10 or up by 20 or if they're down by 20. You know, he doesn't seem phased, which is going to be huge, I think, in the next level.
What do you think he has to improve on in the next level, if you had to pick anything?
Okay, well, one thing that stood out to me is sometimes, like, you know, when you're throwing the back shoulder passes for a touchdown or in the NFL for a big gainer, like, you got to throw the guy open.
Yep.
Sometimes he'll he'll put the receiver in vulnerable positions. Like he doesn't like. There's lots of examples where he gets that back shoulder pass, but there's lots of examples where he could kill his receiver in the NFL. And if there wasn't rule changes in the college league there the last couple of years, he would have killed a couple of his receivers. So, like, I just mean like he was on the run or like in distress a little bit, and he throws it up to make a play. But you got to, you know what I mean? When he does have time. And you can't throw that. You got to throw that back shoulder because the receiver's going to get dinged up. Like the safety's going to kill him.
No, that makes sense. Like I said, you can't.
That was one thing that stood
out. You can't lead them into trouble like that. No, it's good. We're gonna move on. We'll move. Like I said, I think he's the obvious choice for number one. We'll probably get. Well,
I think the Bengals can't. I think anybody who gets him is going to be happy, but. I think the Bengals can't go wrong. Don't cut me or don't.
It's one of those things.
I like Andy Dalton, but it is what it is.
It's so hard if you don't take him, and he turns out to be as good as some people say he can be. Then you're living that down forever. Right?
Andy Dalton's good, people, but they never, for some reason it just didn't work. They never got past. They never won a game in the playoffs.
He's getting older,
so
right?
Maybe Andy Dalton goes somewhere else. Maybe he backs up this year in the Bengals, but maybe he goes somewhere else and he tears it up.
Yeah,
the NFL's funny that way, but
yeah.
But I'm looking forward to seeing him wear the stripes.
So